is it right there. Hey, Tommy, how's that inbox looking?
Looking pretty good, Kevin. We got a lot of great questions from homeowners wanting us to go out and help them with the project, and a lot of great tips also. Got one about foam in a can.
Yeah?
This stuff's expensive.
Sure.
How many times have you used half the can?
It happens to me all the time, and then the tip gets clogged, and...
Yeah, you go back and use it, and it's all dried up.
Right.
Well, if you wrote in a great tip on how to get all the foam out of the can, I'm going to show you that later on.
Sounds like a great one. Okay. Well, good morning. I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House. Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning,
Roger. Roger, this is your bag of dirt. Not dirt, soil. All right, well, it's yours just the same. So, what is Richard doing in the landscaping section?
Anyone who has as many sharp tools as he does can go anywhere he wants.
Good point. Richard, what are you working on today?
Well, many people that have hot air systems complain that they're unbalanced, too hot in one spot, too cold in another. So what we're going to do is show how to install one of these, a manual damper into a duct to try and balance the hot air system.
All right, sounds good. And how about you, Roger?
We got an email from a homeowner who has 2 ugly concrete walls, and we're going to show him how to make them beautiful.
We had this house built 25 years ago, and when it was built, the wall was put in, it was basic concrete, it was ugly, and we really want to make it pop. I like beautiful things. We got a beautiful sports car, well-maintained yard, and this ugly wall. Roger, I need your help to dress up this old wall.
I agree with you, Dennis. This is one ugly wall.
It's horrible.
Now, one solution would be to come in with jackhammers, break it all up, and replace it with a traditional New England fieldstone wall. That would be a lot of work and a lot of money. Now, this wall is sound, so what I want to do is I want to coat it with a stone or veneer a stone to it. And to do that, we're going to use these panels. They're 6 by 24 inches long, and in the back you can see that they're individual pieces of stone that are all epoxied together. And when you look at it in the front and it's set in place, this quartz stone looks like a dry laid wall. And it goes up very quickly.
Roger, it looks like a tile job.
It is just like a tile job. And just like a tile job, the most important thing is the prep work. So you look at this wall that we've already done. We've put on what's called a scratch coat. And that's a 1/2 inch of Portland mortar that's been troweled with a 1/2 inch trowel. This is all ready to accept the stone. But before you get to this part, there's a lot of work that has to be done to the wall.
I'm ready to go.
In order to get the scratch coat to stick to the wall, we have to get this wall back to bare concrete. That means we got to take this brown stain off it. Also, what I want to do is, see these ridges? I want to take and knock them off and smooth this wall out so we can make a nice application of that stone. And it's all going to start with power washing. We're using a special nozzle today designed for stripping paint. It has 3 jets of water that come out and rotate to help remove the stain. We also need a nice, flat, consistent surface to put the stone up, so I'm just taking all the high spots off. Dennis, is there any part of you that isn't wet?
Roger, I've been drier in the shower.
Yeah, well, you're my type of guy. There's a little bit of stain left on the wall. What I'm going to do is come behind you with this 5-inch brush on a right-angled grinder and just clean it up. So stand back. Before we can do any more work, we have to make sure this wall is nice and dry, and that's why I'm using a leaf blower to speed up the process. There, now that wall's nice and dry. We're ready for our next step. What we're going to do is apply a bonding agent to the old concrete, and that'll assure that there's a good connection between the old concrete and our new scratch coat. It's just right here in the bucket. Bring it over.
Let's bond.
You just take it and paint a nice thin coat, nice and evenly on the concrete. Now, even with all the pressure washing we did and grinding, there was still a little bit of color left on this wall from the stain. This bonding agent will ensure that we get full contact with our scratch coat.
How long before we can put on the scratch coat?
Well, in 15 or 20 minutes, it'll be tacky, and that's perfect. Right now, let's go mix up our mortar for the scratch coat. Now, the 2 main ingredients to our scratch coat are masonry cement and masonry sand.
Why masonry sand?
Well, masonry sand is very fine. It has no aggregates in it, so it's perfect for this scratch coat that we're going to be doing. The other important thing you have to remember is you're mixing 1 part masonry cement to 3 parts sand. It's very important you have that formula right. We're going to mix the mortar with water, but what I've added to the water is an acrylic polymer, which is going to give our mortar more strength and flexibility. All right, make a little hole right in the middle of that. Okay, watch out for a second. I'm going to add a little of this water to that hole in the middle. Now start mixing your dry with the wet. What we want is the mortar to have the consistency of peanut butter, so keep working it. When you need more water, we'll add it. All right, let's take a look. That looks great. Let's bring it over, put it on the wall. All right, Dennis, first thing you're going to do is load up your Hvac. That's plenty. I'm going to bring it over to the wall. Grab your trowel. Now, this is a notched trowel, but we're going to use the smooth side for now. So what we're going to do is place the Hvac down, and we're going to wipe on the wall. You're trying to get about a good half-inch layer on here, all right?
Okay.
Starting from the bottom, working your way up. Once you get that on, we'll go back and get some more mortar. Dennis, I want you to remember, we're not skimming this wall. We want a nice thick bed on there. All right, looking good. Just fill in that last little hole. I'm going to take this wet trowel and just smooth the mortar out. Okay, this is our wall that we scratch coated a couple days ago. That's all nice and dry now, and you can see the grooves. So when we put a piece of stone on here, the mortar on the back of the stone is going to lock right into those grooves. So what we have to do now is create those notches in the wall we just scratch coated. What I want you to do is wet your trowel. Come over to the wall. We're going to start from the bottom. Now, when we create the notches on this wall, I don't want you to drag the trowel at a 90-degree angle. It'll take out too much of the mortar. What we're going to do is hold it at a 45-degree angle and just come along and make a nice series of notches in the wall. And just start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. Okay, hold on, Dennis. Look, see all that on the back of your trowel? They can clean that off. Clean it off, rinse it off in the bucket. Okay, now try it again with even a little more angle on your blade. Down a little bit, down. Okay, now try that. Much better. Now here's our veneer panel. Remember that this is 6 inches wide. Now if I set this panel on top of the asphalt during the winter in a freeze-thaw cycle, or during the summer when the asphalt heats up, it could actually push up on this and pop it right off the wall. So what I did is I snapped a reference line at 6.5 inches. We're going to take and hold the panel, the top of it, up to that reference line. That's going to leave us a 1/2 inch of space underneath so that the asphalt will never push on the stone. You ready to put some stone on the wall?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Now, we're going to start on the corners. The manufacturers actually made it so that 2 pieces of stone will weave together on the corner and make a perfect match for you, so we don't have to do any cutting. So this piece gets installed first. The first thing I have to do is wipe the back of this stone with clean water. That's going to take off any dust that's going to be on the back of it, but it also wets the stone, and that helps the whole curing process and makes for a stronger bond. Now, with the stone nice and clean, I just have to butter the back of it with the same mortar mix we use for the scratch coat. You want to get about a 1/2 inch of mortar on here. I'm going to take my time because I want to make sure I get the whole back of the stone coated evenly. That looks pretty good. Now we're just going to bring it over to the wall, and we're going to take and stick it right in place. Now what I want you to do is take this piece, clean it off, and then butter the back of it for me so we can marry it right up in this corner. Nice and even, okay? Take your time. There's no rush in this.
How thick should this be?
Oh, give me about a 1/2 inch on the back of that, okay? Nice and smooth on that, all right?
All right.
Slide it right over. Up. All right, come to me with the bottom of it. I'm going to close this up. That's perfect right there. All right, now I'm going to take this shim and slide it right underneath the stone. That's going to give us good equal spacing all the way along and also hold this in place so we can build on top of it. All right, let's get another stone. All right, set it right in. All right, now take it to you just a little bit. Hold on. Now push it down tight. Now take the rubber hammer and tap her back. Get it nice and seam nice and tight. Okay. Now the majority of the pieces we're going to be using today are 24 inches long. They're going to make up the whole field. But here in the corners, it's a little different. The corners are made up of 8-inch and 16-inch pieces. Here in our first course, I have an 8-inch piece, and then the second part of the corner is a 16-inch piece. And it's just reversed in the next course. Here I have a 16-inch piece, and then on the front part, I'm going to install an 8-inch piece. And that'll ensure that all of our joints are staggered. Looking good, Dennis. How are you making out?
Good. These straight runs really fly.
Now, the last piece on our run doesn't measure 24 inches, so I have to cut a piece. So I measured it out at 16 inches, laid it out on the stone, and with a 4-inch grinder and a diamond blade, cut it off at 16. Now I just got to slip it in place. Dennis, the wall looks great. Now, that's the last piece we can put in the wall part. It's time to think about the cap. The manufacturer sent us the same stone, but it's wide, and it's got a rock face edge on it to hang over the wall. This is going to be our cap. You can see the front edge is sawn cut. So when we bring the two together, we're able to make a nice mortar joint. But we have one problem. Down here in the end, we're going to be able to see this edge. And I don't like to see that sawn cut. So what I want to do is replicate this rock face edge on the end of the stone. To do that, I'm going to take my diamond blade saw and cut a series of little cuts in here, top and bottom, and then take a hammer and chip them away. By doing that, it'll give it a nice rock edge to match the rest of the stone.
Great.
So take a couple shovelfuls and put it on top. All right, maybe just a little more. Now with all the mortar up here, grab your hand trowel. All right, Dennis, this looks good. Let's take and drop this in. What I'm looking for is about an inch overhang. So bring that out a little bit. Okay, now take your hammer. Let's tap this right down into that bed of mortar. Go ahead, all the way, all the way. Keep banging. Okay, that looks pretty good.
Roger. The full-size pieces, we can't get any more in here.
Right, what I'm going to have to do is cut tapered pieces, fillers, to fit underneath the cap and on the top of the wall. I'll take a couple measurements, do a layout, cut it with a diamond blade, and then the pieces will look just like this. Well, what do you think?
Roger, it's amazing. This wall, far cry from that ugly wall that was here this morning.
Well, it was a lot of work, but it was worth every minute of it.
It sure was.
I agree with you, Roger. That is a big improvement on that wall. And this is a pretty good-looking stone.
Yeah, this is a quartz.
I love the fact that it comes in the panels. That made your job a lot easier for the
It
installation.
sure does, Kevin. If you take a good look at this, especially on the back, you can see that there's 11 pieces of individual stone in this one panel.
Now, we've worked with the veneer stone before on several projects where we've taken a long wall and we put it on, or a tall chimney, but of course, in that case, it was going on in individual pieces.
Time-consuming,
Sure.
labor-intensive. This saves you time by using a panel system.
All right, talk about savings. How much does this cost for the materials for this project?
This particular stone is about $10 a square foot. Now, if you think this piece is 2 feet long by 6 inches, so that's 1 square foot. That's $10 worth of stone right there.
And for the whole project, what do you think you spent?
We used about $1,200 in material to do the whole project.
You know what? Not too bad for 2 big walls.
No, came out great, too.
Nice job.
Guys, it comes in basic black.
Slimine.
It is part plastic, part steel with a point on the end of it, and over here is this little silvery thing. What is it?
I'm glad you actually brought this in because I was about to buy this.
Didn't the conditions of your parole say you couldn't take it off your ankle?
Just for today, I get rid of it. You know, I've been wearing one of those little Bluetooth little earpieces, and they look really stupid. Don't they sticking out like this?
The earpiece?
Yeah, and the reception's terrible. This is Bluetooth too.
But no, that's black.
Well, blue is the new black. Black is the new blue. So this is an earpiece with a great antenna right here. So now you put this baby on. Yeah, it's a little big, but you can actually pick up Rangoon. You can hear everything.
Oh, you picking up crab, Brad?
No, I'll forget yourself. What do you think? Yeah. Get it off my head?
Please. So wrong. You know, you could go an entire day on a job site and lose, what, 6, 7, 10 water bottles?
Oh.
And then you get punched. Well, this actually straps right onto your belt, and look, bottle buddy.
You can rehydrate.
Ready?
Gotta go.
It's really great.
Guys, you are so bad. Let me have that.
What?
Okay.
What are you doing with the reciprocating?
It actually goes and works with a reciprocating saw.
Now you tell us?
Yep. You got to turn this, and I got to take in. There we go. That the right way, Tom?
Yeah,
that
that's
way?
right, right. Put it right in there. Let it go.
Yeah.
Wow. Who's giving the hints here?
You know what? I just figured out what it is. I know exactly what it is. Reciprocating saw, they're great tools. You ever work with a handsaw? Great tool. Put them together, you got a tool. Watch this.
Tell me more, Tom.
You whack this thing right in here. Strap it right in there and tighten this down.
All right.
Tighten that down. I'm going to get my handsaw. All right.
Got
Is it tight? All right. Now what I want you to do is I want you to hold the board flat on the table, and I want you to don't put full power to that thing because we're going to rock some wood here. Take my handsaw. All right, now let me get started. Now gently start with the switch. Wait a minute, I don't want to cut my hand off. All right, get going. There you go. In about an hour and a half, we're going to have this board ripped down.
It's like a table saw.
Oh, it's better.
Almost the right reason to use it. Take that out for me. Now, we've all used a can of iron spray paint.
Sure.
Have you ever read the directions?
Not once.
It says shake vigorously for 2 minutes.
You know how long that is?
I do.
Who's got 2 minutes?
Me, I don't have 2 minutes.
All right, well, we're going to speed up the process. We're going to slide it right in here.
Ooh.
We're going to tighten that down.
Yeah.
Nice and tight.
And cut it?
Cut it? No, shake it. Give it 10 seconds.
Really? Hey, that's not bad.
Don't point that at me.
Stop it. Now you're ready to spray.
That felt like 2 minutes.
Richard, I'm feeling a little unbalanced. What can you do for me?
That is a common complaint we hear with hot air systems. You know, you've got a furnace or an air conditioner with its blower pushing air into a main trunk like this. And then you have takeoffs that go to individual rooms with supply ducts like this. Now you hope that the first installer of that heating and cooling system actually did a calculation to determine what size trunks go to each room.
Obviously, bigger trunks to bigger rooms and smaller trunks to smaller
That's
rooms.
right. Well, oftentimes we see the same size supply trunk go into a small room as a large room, and that means you might overheat this room and underheat the other one.
An imbalanced system.
Right, so we need some way to balance the system. And so at the least case, you can look at some of these registers that might have a register here that has a damper inside of it.
Yep.
As you close that off, what the complaint on these would be is that you might get a little whistle right here. And as you close it off, you start to hear it. But also, if you close it off too much, you start getting some back pressure down here, so you might have some duct leakage in the basement.
Okay, so this isn't the greatest damper, but we do want a damper.
A proper damper, and here's one of them right here. On the better systems, you'll see this. This is a takeoff coming off of the trunk right here, and it has the damper built right in right there.
Yep.
You can see the disc right there. And you can see on the side, there's a lever blade that tells you the direction of that damper. If you wanted to close this off to that smaller room, it would be right there, and then you would lock it in place.
Yep.
Okay, and that means less air would go over to that small room, which then would make more air go to the larger room.
Okay, so this damper is built in, and that's the way you'd really love to see it. But what if we don't have any dampers built in?
Well, they make a damper section like this. Okay, so here's an existing takeoff right here.
Yep.
Now, many systems in America use flexible supply duct. And flexible is pretty easy. You just have to break that connection. You put your start piece right here.
Gotcha.
Here's our blade again. And you just reconnect it. And that's simple.
Okay.
But on these metal systems, it becomes a little more of a challenge. It's easy enough to cut the pipe, but then sometimes this ductwork is up inside the ceiling and it doesn't have any place, so you can sort of move it out of the way to make this connection.
Right.
So they make one of these. This is actually an adjustable start piece. It'll allow you to cut it and then bring that together.
Oh, that's pretty ingenious.
Now, if another way to do it is if you have a straight run of pipe, they make a blade, a damper blade like this. You can take a pair of aviation shears, okay, and come like this, and it removes a fair amount of material.
Yeah.
On the other side, you drill a hole right there. And now you can actually just drive that damper blade down through.
So this is really just the process of installing the blade only.
That's right.
Okay. It's always the fussy part is what's going to happen on this side. There you
So
go.
now, once you've done that, you need to cut a piece of sheet metal right there to cover it over. And then you use zip screws and snug it up tight and then seal it up. And there's your lever and a little nut to lock it in place. And then once you do that, you've got a damper in place.
Well, that is pretty ingenious,
It
too.
is. Now, there's one more damper that's right here, which is a spring-loaded damper. If you've got access to the ductwork like this, you can actually cut a hole on each side, and now you drop that down and in.
So a lot of thought has actually gone into retrofitting dampers into these
It's
systems.
such a common complaint, this balancing issue, that it's very serious. And so now we have a damper.
All right, so it sounds like we got a couple ways to make these systems more comfortable.
Try to keep you in balance.
Now, what about the rest of my problems?
You got trouble.
Tommy, you promised to show us a solution to one of the most annoying characteristics of these cans of spray foam, and that's the clogged applicator.
You know, these cans are expensive, and they only come with one nozzle. Once you use it and it gets clogged up, these cans are pretty much toast.
Or, if you lose it, what do you do?
Actually steal one from another can.
Well, Keith from New Jersey Road, if you have an old piece of 14-2 Romex wire hanging around, if you actually cut the wire short, remove the inside wire, the casing on that is perfect to go right on the top of the can.
No kidding.
See how it works? Slip it on there. Now you can make these any length you want, he said. So let's start off with a short one.
Yay, and there you go.
Works good.
Oh, actually, any plastic tubing like this that has a 1/4 inch inside diameter can actually also work.
All right, well, we're going to save ourselves a lot of foam cans here. So, Keith, for your good information, we are going to send you a T-shirt. And if you've got a good tip for us or a question about your house, write us. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Richard Thuy.
And I'm Tom Silva.
For Ask This Old House.
Do I get a T-shirt for my little tip here?
You didn't do anything.
I gave you the 1/4 inch thing.
If you have a question about your house or a tip you'd like to share, please let us know. Visit our website, pbs.org, for expert advice, step-by-step videos, and much more. Next time on Ask This Old House.
We're working for a homeowner who's decided it's time to take out their old laminate countertops in the kitchen, and we are going to show you how to fabricate some new ones. It's short money, but it can make a big difference.
That's next time